Melissa, you're live.
Hi, how are y'all?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing just great. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Thank you for coming on. We're really excited to talk to you. Again, if anyone's just joining us, we're on with Melissa Henderson, two-time All-American Notre Dame, number 2 draft pick overall women's professional soccer league. Okay, I have to ask because I'm not very smart. How does the whole draft thing work? And were you drafted by one league or drafted by 2 leagues, or how did this whole thing play out for you? I mean, how did this draft work?
Well, it started out the WTS and the Women's Professional League. There was a draft, and it was just one league, and that's all that was really going on. And after I was drafted, I was training. I was getting ready to head off and go to Sky Blue FC. And the league, a couple teams ended up folding, and the league just couldn't survive off of the few teams that were left. Wow. So in order to, save the players and keep things going and moving, they came up with a different league that they couldn't quite call it a professional league quite yet, but there were several teams that still could be in the league and play and travel and, get paid for it. And luckily, they just came out a couple weeks ago, or I think maybe even a week ago, saying that the league has officially been sanctioned. So it is back and running. There's, I think, 10 to 12 teams that have already committed to it. So it's up and running again. Yeah, so it's really exciting. There's a lot of big things that are about to come for women's soccer. So I'm really excited for the next era and all the youngins coming up that want to play soccer and play their dreams. So I'm excited for them as well.
Well, it's you make an interesting point. You're in essence a pioneer. I mean, we're talking. I mean, in the literal sense of the word. I mean, you're on the ground floor. This it's a breaking sports movement. And you're at the very forefront of it. You're a highly decorated athlete from high-profile school, high-profile program. I mean, you could, technically end up being the poster child for this league. I mean, that would be absolutely incredible. I mean, your play is something else, but your resume is just speaks volumes about who you are. So we're really, again, thank you for being on the show. We're really excited about it.
Oh, no, thanks for having me.
So I have to ask, and I ask all my guests because, most of my guests are all Notre Dame grads and, we're all, high school All-Americans or something along those lines. I have to ask this question because the whole concept behind my show is to have people understand that as much as we're competitive, as much as we're student athletes, as much as we all want to win, there had to be someone who was an inspiration to you when you were younger. And hopefully it was maybe your coach, maybe it was a parent, but when you were coming up, was there a coach who stood out in your athletic experience, and what about him or her stood out, whether it was good, bad, or different? So.
It's pretty crazy. I've pretty much had somebody that I've really looked up to a few times throughout my career, and it really just happened through each stage of my life. And of course, I start out as a child wanting to be just like my older brother, Jason, and he played soccer, so I just would watch him, and my dad would try to coach me and give me skills. So, I mean, that was a major impact, and just wanting to be like my little brother. I was just that annoying little sister always tagging along to soccer games, and so that's how it all got started. But I would definitely say during my adolescence career, my coach, Kenny Medina, for the Dallas Texans and Sting Soccer Club, he had a great impact on my life. He really taught me everything basic you need to know about soccer, from juggling to how to curve a ball with the inside, outside of my foot, all skill levels, like where my runs need to be, everything. He was just great, and he knew how to coach me. He was one of those coaches who would just tear you apart. And I know it's hard for some people to handle that, but I really thrived off that. And he really knew how to get to me and get the best out of me performance-wise, so that was really good. And then from adolescence to adulthood, Randy Waldrum from Notre Dame, he was just an inspiration altogether, you know, like, just look at his background, what a great person he is on and off the field. He has taught me so many life lessons, including lessons for soccer and just how to play as an adult, like more smart soccer and tactical-wise. And I just honestly have been blessed with so many great people in my life that have really taught me different aspects of the game as I grew up. So I couldn't give you one exact thank you or one exact person that I just really looked up to. There are so many that had just a huge impact.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. That's really great to hear, because sometimes, you know, it's our experience that we have that one coach who either did something really, really well or did something really, really horrible that just in some twisted way motivated the athlete to overcome and achieve. So that's great to hear that you're surrounded by great people. And, you know, if there was ever a case where it takes a village, it sounds like you had a village of positive people around you helping you and supporting you along the way. That's awesome. We're on the Ask Oscar Show live with Melissa Henderson, two-time All-American Notre Dame and professional women's soccer player. Now, how does that feel? How does that feel when someone says to you, professional soccer player? I mean, what does that mean? I mean, are you still pinching yourself?
You know, I still don't see myself as a professional. You even saying that right now is making me kind of giggle a little bit. I know. I'm still getting used to it. It's crazy because, you know, as a child I grew up and that's what I wanted to do, and being able to achieve that and to continue to, you know, try to follow the rest of my dreams and make things happen.
Sure. This
has definitely just been an amazing experience, and I mean, I'm still flabbergasted at the thought of it, to be honest.
It's a great thing. I've always told people, because I had a short pro career, but I always tell people, if you have an opportunity, even if it's just for a day, to be a professional athlete, you have to, if you get that opportunity, you have to seize it. You know, I don't really understand people who have the opportunity to play professionally and, you know, walk away from it. And I understand being called to do certain things, but I mean, just to have that opportunity is incredible. So I'm really, really excited for you. So now you're going to have another fan who's going to be following you and paying attention to what you're doing.
Oh, well, I'll be a fan of you too, so I'll be listening on these shows.
Awesome. Okay, so I have to ask, let's go back to 2010. Let's go back to your time at Notre Dame, and let's talk about the national championship team. Tell us a little bit about that team and what made that team so special. I mean, I know that you guys were phenomenally talented physically. You had a great coach in Randy Waldrum, and I got to tell you, my daughter's a goalkeeper, and I really, really wanted her to play for Randy. Just when I heard about his philosophy of how he coached during the week, and on game day, you guys figured it out, which I thought was great, because I coach football now, and I can't do that. I don't think I shut up the entire game. So tell us a little bit. Tell our listeners a little bit about that team and what made that team special.
You know, that team is still really close to my heart. I would, one word, like if I could define it, if that's even possible, would be grit. I think that team had so much grit, and we really just overcame so many adversities, and we had been working so hard, and we worked together, and we did countless amounts of extra work and extra practices just because we wanted to win a national championship. And I think, you know, everybody was on the right mindset, and we all loved one another and wanted the best from one another, so everybody's willing to stick out an extra hand to help each other, and it was just surreal. I can still remember the locker room talks, or everybody just going out early to play, even if it is like 15 minutes before practice, 15 minutes after, you know, here or there. But everybody was just so dedicated to this goal and just driven. And it was just an amazing feeling, an amazing sight, an amazing experience to be a part of. And I'm still trying to take it in that we won that, because that is by far the greatest experience I've ever had in my life. And I mean, I think I was tearing up when there were still 15 minutes left in the national championship game. But I really think it hit home, and it was just an amazing experience because my freshman year we went to the finals and we ended up losing to North Carolina. My sophomore year we had so many injuries that were just unfortunate and setbacks, and we ended up losing in the semis. So getting back to the finals my junior year, I just remember us all looking at one another being like, this isn't happening again. We're not leaving here without this title. Like, this is ours to take. Like, let's do it. Let's play for one another. And we did, we did it for one another, and, it was our day. God was watching over us, and we ended up taking it home.
That was incredible. We actually, I got an opportunity to see your highlight video when I was the associate director of Play-Like a Champion Day at Notre Dame. Randy actually came last year in 2011. He was the speaker at our conference, and he showed the highlight video from the season, and it was really emotional. I mean, I'm getting kind of choked up thinking about it right now. I mean, it was awesome, and you could see that you guys genuinely loved each other and cared about each other, and then I think that's a huge ingredient when you talk about grit. Stick-to-itiveness and being relentless and focused, and that you're going to pick your teammate up when she's down, and she's going to do the same thing for you, and you have one goal, and you're all driven to achieve that one goal. It wasn't about personal accolades. It wasn't about what anybody else thought other than the people on the team, and that is Randy did a great job just explaining it, and kind of took me back to the '93 team that I was on. Way probably back before you were born, but anyway, it was there were a lot of similarities, and it was really, really great. So just to hear you talk about that, I can truly understand exactly where you're coming from. And even today, as we had one of my former teammates on last week, I mean, we are still, the best of friends, and we were 20 years ago. And we're still the best of friends. It will last forever.
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely.
We're on the Ask Oscar Show live with Melissa Henderson, two-time All-America and a women's professional soccer player. I have to ask you, so now, okay, you win the national championship. You guys are riding high. All-America status. Tell us a little bit about what it meant to you to be not one, but a two-time All-American at the University of Notre Dame. I mean, you're talking about the pinnacle of women's soccer, the pinnacle of sports in schools. I mean, that had to be a tremendous honor. What did that mean to you?
To be honest, Oscar, I tried not to give that much thought. I was more just focused on the team and making sure that we were getting done what we needed to get done as a team. I don't think being an All-American was a goal at all. I mean, but I am absolutely honored and to be able to be that and be at Notre Dame and to represent Notre Dame in such a way and give back because they've given me so much.
Sure.
So it was an amazing experience. I really just tried to look a little past all those little those things and really focus on the major things, and that was the team and winning a national championship, getting through regular season. I don't think it came down to any of that, but I absolutely, at the end of the day, am so thankful and was beyond blessed to be able to experience that and obtain those while I was there at Notre Dame. So it was a really cool experience.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. That's a great answer, actually. It's a great answer. See, I tried to bait you and you didn't fall for it. So tell us about like one of the worst practices that you've ever had. I mean, we've all had them. I mean, mine sometimes still keep me awake at night. At 8:40. What was it? What was it a day that it just seemed like you couldn't get it together? You and your teammates couldn't get it together. You were out of sync. And what did you guys do to change it? Because I'm hoping that we have, as we grow, the show grows, we'll start having some athletes start to listen and some coaches start to listen to the program because coaches are huge especially when there are days that things don't click. And you can go one of two ways. You can attack it and you can scream and yell and completely send the athletes into the tank, or you can do something proactive to help them figure it out, because that's when you grow. You know what I mean? When you actually learn. So if you can remember, if there was a day that kind of sticks out for you, that things just weren't working, and what you guys did to get yourselves out of that funk, so to speak.
There's a few times, you're always going to have those practices or even games, warm-ups, all of that, that aren't going right, and you're going to get frustrated, and it's hard. It's because especially in a pregame, if you're in warm-up and things aren't going exactly how they should, your touch is a little off, you're going to freak out a little bit because you're about to play in a major game. So you're going to freak out a little bit. So I can remember countless times where that's happened to me and a few other players, and we all just literally stopped, brought it in, and just took a deep breath and said, all right, let's go. We can do this. No pressure. Like, we just need to just play what we love to play, just relax. Like, don't think about it. We're thinking too much about it. And somebody who was great at that was the captain my sophomore year, I believe. It was Courtney Rosen. I can just remember her bringing us all in on some of the practices, being like, hey, this isn't good enough. We've got to do better. I know it's 10 degrees outside right now, but I don't care.
Right.
We all have, exactly, we have one goal, and that's not 10 degrees isn't going to stop us from getting there. I want to go inside too, but I want to get better, and I want this team to do well. So there's so many things that we had to overcome, whether it be weather, our touches, or shooting, just everything. But at the end of the day, you got to take a deep breath, take it in, and realize, you're lucky to be out there. And, everybody wants to be warm and cozy and everything be perfect, but it can't be like that all the time. And you got to learn to play through that. And I think that's what, makes you a great player, is learning to play through those adversities and get past all that.
Right, absolutely. We're on live with Melissa Henderson, two-time All-American Notre Dame, women's professional soccer player on the Ask Oscar Show and TNND Network. I have to ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go, because I know that you've probably got tons of stuff you need to do. What advice would you give to a young student athlete who wants to compete at the highest level? I mean, what would you genuinely say to that person, if it's soccer, if it's lacrosse, if it's football, basketball, baseball, swimming, whatever? What would you say to that athlete as a motivational talk? What would you say?
Well, I would definitely always begin. I know this may sound cliche, but with a Bible verse that so many people can relate to and use, and it's just so popular, which is Philippians 4:13. It's my favorite. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I really believe that. I think that he's given us life, and he's given us a talent that we can spread with his word, and I think that we just have to give all grace to him and keep our faith that it's in his plan, whatever may happen, and also that don't let somebody take your dream away. You gotta fight for what you want. A lot of the times, there's always going to be adversities. There's going to be setbacks, but it's the kind of character you have in a player that you are that becomes great, is by overcoming all those setbacks and those adversities, and really coming into the player that you really are meant to be, and just the player that God has intended you to be. And
right.
I really would just tell you, don't give up.
Right.
You can do anything you want to do.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great advice. I mean, you're wise beyond your years, because that is truly. I mean, when you look at it truly objectively, if I'm an athlete, and you have to be thankful for the abilities that you have. Some athletes are considered arrogant, or whatever, but humility is huge, and that's one of those things that my mom and my grandma, when I was being raised, always said, always be humble, always remember that you've been given gifts by God, to use those, and with those gifts, you bring glory not only to the people who are around you, but you bring glory to Him. So that was awesome. What a great answer. Hey, Steve, are you asleep, man, in the studio again? Are you asleep?
When we got to get great guests on, I always put my microphone on mute, so I make sure people on Twitter know that Melissa's live on the show, see if I can get some questions, see if anybody has any questions for our guests. I put it on mute, man. I wanted to let you do your thing.
You know what? I think he was snoring. He put it on mute because he was snoring. That's okay, Steve. That's all right.
Absolutely not. Well, if I can ask Melissa a question, I wanted to kind of gear towards what's going on TV right now and in sports. Obviously, a lot of fans in America just watched the U.S. women's national team go out and win a couple dramatic games and end up pulling out the gold medal. Now, on your side, you're one of the top All-Americans from this past class. You're a top pick in the draft. Is Rio 2014 your goal?
It absolutely is my goal. It's not something that I've dreamed about as a little girl. I'm going to work for it as much as I can and train as hard as I can because I want to be there in 2016. But, it's out of my hands. I've worried so much with just soccer and everything that I've promised myself that I'm just going to stop worrying. I'm gonna list it all to God. It's His plan. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. But I'm definitely going to do my part. I'm going to train my hardest, and hopefully, in 2016, maybe I can be there. If not, it's all right. But yeah.
Well, go ahead and put on your analyst cap for all the soccer fans that are listening out there. We watched the U.S. and those epic games in the World Cup just last year, and they ended up not pulling it out. And seriously, amazing games, amazing effort everywhere. What do you think the difference was? Because the same women, same team, same teams and opponents in the tournament. What was the difference for them to pull it out this time this year?
I just think that the chemistry was great with them. I think every single one of those players is just amazing, and they went through, they fit together well, they know how to play off each other, they have more experience with one another, so they've really bonded, and you can just see through their play that, the connection that they have with one another, and they're really playing for one another, and they want it. They really want it. And they are just so talented and so blessed, and it is just amazing to watch. So I love the soccer that I was just seeing, and it's exciting too because watching great players like that, and giving the games that they're giving, they're making it more exciting for the U.S. So that's going to open a lot of doors, for U.S. women's soccer and more fans, and really just putting it out there and getting some more media for the younger girls that are coming up wanting to play in the professional league, play for the national team. So it's really about the next generation as well. So they're setting it up perfectly, and they just did an amazing job. And I'm so proud of them, and I'm proud to be from the U.S.
Well, we're going to all be looking out there and rooting for you. Amazing this past year. Just this past week, we had 3 former Notre Dame players are playing in the Olympics on the women's soccer team, one for the U.S., 2 for Canada. Great questions. I did have one question from a fan. They wanted to ask you, they said they'd heard that you have done some personal coaching. We wanted, how does it work when, parents who want to see their child succeed so much that they're kind of overbearing and maybe telling you what you should be doing? How do you deal with kind of that obsessive parent who's overbearing when you're trying to teach a young athlete how to play soccer?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow.
I would say, advice is just let your kid have fun, You don't want them to get burnt out. It's about loving the game, Coaching, young kids. I've done a lot of camps and one-on-ones and stuff, and just getting to know the kid and making sure they're having a good time, enjoying the game, learning about it, just constantly just wanting to know more is an amazing sign. The last thing I feel like you'd ever want to do is just push them to an edge to where they're not having fun anymore. They don't want to go to practice. They don't want to watch it on TV, And I think it's just keeping them interested, not pushing it, just just letting them do, what they want to do and have a good time. And, they're kids. They want to have fun. They want to hang out, play soccer, and do all the sports and stuff like that. So it's really just let them have fun, don't push them too hard. They're little, they're going to grow into it. But it'll get a little more competitive pretty soon. So it's only a few years that they can really enjoy it, where it's relaxing and it's not all about the wins or anything like that. So just let them take their time and get into it slowly.
Well, great advice from Notre Dame legend. That question was from our good friend and your friend Lynn. She wanted to pass that one along. She's a parent as well.
Oh, she's awesome. Oh, well, tell her thank you and hello for me.
Well, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Oscar. Thank you for letting me get in here, Oscar. I was not sleeping, though. I was attentively paying attention and spreading the word.
If you say so, Steve, I'll take your word for it. We're on the Ask Oscar Show live on Teen Indian Network with the great Melissa Henderson. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on and being with us today. You are welcome anytime. Anytime you have to spend with us, we'd love to have you on, as well as your teammates. If you guys would like to come on in tandem, that'd be great, and talk to you about the season and what you guys are doing, and just staying connected with our listeners and staying connected with the people that you mean so much to. That would be just awesome. So you have an open invitation anytime. We'd love to have you.
Oh, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. That's awesome. We are live on TN Indian Network's Ask Oscar with Melissa Henderson. If anyone wants to call in before she leaves us, our phone number, area code 347-843-4242. Again, 347-843-4242. I got to say that Steve, Melissa is just, so articulate and so awesome, and she's.
Oh my gosh! No, stop.
I have to say this. I'm allowed. I'm a Notre Dame alum. I'm older than you, so you have to listen. I said earlier in the show that you're the poster child for what's happening with women's professional soccer, and what you said when Steve asked you about how things were happening with the league and what the gold medal would mean to women's professional soccer, I think you just cemented my comment, because you are so in tune with what that means. You're so in tune with what needs to happen in the league. As much as it's about what you do on the field, it's truly about how you represent yourself, you represent your family, you represent your name, your league off the field. And I think you're doing a phenomenal job. So
thank you.
I'm going to endorse you. I know it means nothing to women's professional soccer, but I'm going to endorse you as the face of the franchise. So,
this is a good time to maybe bring this up that Melissa has mentioned that she has some interest in maybe being a regular correspondent for TN Indiana, maybe updating fans of Notre Dame on the goings-on for Notre Dame's women's and men's soccer team. I know that she mentioned that to Lynn, so that's something that we may be able to, or we plan on. I'm going to try and get it done. Plan on getting that done for the fall this year. So, Melissa, you have interest in doing broadcasting? Is there something you want to do, or anything you want to say about the women's team this year?
I am super excited for the women's team this year. We have the number one recruiting class, so I'm so excited to come back and see those girls play. It's going to be tremendous, and I know they're going to do amazing under the coaching staff with Ken, Dawn, Jeanette, Randy, of course. There's going to be great things this season from them, and I'm so excited to see them. I'm so excited. But, yeah, I want to do sideline reporting. That's really something I want to get into. Just talking to the athletes, the coaches, getting their input on the game and stuff like that. I think it'd be really fun. I think there's just so many questions out there that I feel like could be answered for the mood from the athlete or the coach, depending on how the game's going and stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it'd be fun, and I can relate to the athletes a little bit. So it'd be something fun to do.
Oscar, you want to put her on the spot? I can do it. I'm on the sideline spot. We can do it right now. You're on the sideline in Dublin.
Go for it.
Oh, my gosh.
Go
what
for
are
it.
you doing to me?
Go for it. Go for it.
What is the lead story for Notre Dame football if you're the sideline reporter on September 1st?
A win. That's That's the lead story.
That is a perfect answer.
I love it. A win. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Need I say more?
That's
I think
awesome.
that's it. Did I pass your test?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Nailed
Perfect.
it. Okay, so forget the fact that Tommy and Carlo didn't make the trip, but we're talking about, can we just win the game, please? Let's just be real. Let's just win the game.
Works.
We made a long trip. Can we just win the game, please?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll happen.
So I have to ask then, what is your projection with our team this year? I mean, I know that at least when I was there, it was, soccer was on one field and we were on another field, and sometimes we were shagging balls that came over the fence. So we were really close to the women's soccer program when I was there. What is your prediction for our boys this year? Do we win 8 games? Do we win 9 games? Do we win 10 games? Do we make a BCS bid? I want to know what your thought is.
I think that this is going to be a great year. I'm actually, some of my closest friends in the world are on that team. Even a lot of them are doing 5th years. So I'm so excited for them. I know that they have a great season coming about, and I've talked to them about camp, and they're all going through 2-a-days and all that right now. But it's so worth it. They are going to do amazing things this season, and I'm telling Indy to look out because I have so much faith in them, and I'm really excited. I think that it's going to be a very winning season. I don't want to talk too far ahead, but I definitely see a great bowl chance, especially with BCS. That would be awesome. It's going to be a really, really hard schedule, but, that's, again, where the grit comes in and what I was talking about earlier, and I really think that these boys have it. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to come about, and hopefully, and we'll be seeing a lot of W's this year.
I like that. I like the way you think. That's a beautiful thing. More W's than L's, man. Because I live in Southern California, and I have to hear these Trojan people all the time. Steve.
Let's not even get started on that.
It's horrible. It's horrible. To make it worse, most of them haven't even gone to school there. They're just bandwagon.
Yeah, they're just hanging around.
Oh.
And
there's none of those at Notre Dame.
No, not at all.
No.
We're all family at Notre Dame.
Yeah, we're true family, man, through thick and thin, not just when we win.
Absolutely. I like that. Absolutely.
Always. Melissa, thank you again for being on the Ask Oscar show on TN India Network. Hopefully we can have you on again. Again, we really, really appreciate it. You've been awesome. You've been a great sport, even when Steve was sleeping and then put you on the spot.
Yeah. I was trying to bat away all these Twitter questions about if Melissa will marry them. That's all the questions I'm getting online right now. That's all they care about.
Oh, God. I'm sure she's used to that.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, thank you again for being on. Best of luck with your season. Hopefully you'll get a chance to come check out a couple of games this year, and hope that things go well for you, that you stay injury-free, that you guys have a successful season moving forward. And as I said, you're always welcome on the show. So thank you again for being on today.
Well, thank y'all so much for having me. I had a great time. It was great talking to y'all and speaking to you. And hopefully I'll see y'all at a Notre Dame football game for sure. I'll be up there a few times in the fall. So
absolutely. Sounds great. You take care of yourself.
All right, you too. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.